Flight boss. I can't even really do it, man. One thing after another, man. I know every week it sounds like I got some bad news for y'all. You know what I'm saying? And just the way my chart lined up, it's unfortunate. You know, I got the North Node in the 8th house, Mercury in the 8th house, so I don't even like the things I really communicate about is in a behind the scenes type realm. You know what I'm saying? It's in a real behind the scenes type realm because my Mercury is in the 8th house along with my North Node. And my 8th house is Pisces, so I go along with the consciousness flow of the duties and obligations of that house. So when it comes to, now, my Mercury is in Aries, so I think rapid, I think fast, and it's fire is cardinal, feeling, and seer. So I like to think and create new visions and new thought patterns and come up with new fast ideas and very high out the box, unreality like visions. And then when that Mercury falls into my Pisces 8th house, which my North Node there also, my mind is placed in a realm that the things that I do think of rapidly is mysticism, life and death, sex. And we're just talking about the joining of two energies. We're not of these energies, we just play these energies out. I'm the Archangel Uriel. I am an energy force itself. But as far as humans, you're not of these energies, you just play these energies out. So when I say life and death or sex, sex just means a joining of two energies. So we got that science from the higher realm and thought that we can have batteries do that. Because everything else does that. Planets does that. Even humans does that. And life and death. I just put life into talking about this subject and put death into talking about what I was just talking about a few seconds ago. Now, I'm dealing with a death in the family. And it's like, I'm not going to get into details, but just know it's very close. It's not a situation where it's close to home. It's a situation where it is home, you know. And it's so bad and so harsh with the fucking violence that was done. I'm not going to get into details. My whole issue right here with making this video, you know what I'm saying, is to let everybody know to do everything in your own nature. Regardless. And these are things I think about also with the Mercury being in the 8th house, because I'm dealing with a lot of that right now. 8th house type shit, 4th house type shit, 12th house type shit. And notice that's all water houses. I'm dealing with a lot of those issues right now. And I'm dealing with a lot of earth issues right now. Which is in my houses 2nd, 6th, 10th. And everything is unorganized, misinformulated. Which brings me to the segue of why you should do everything in your nature, regardless if anyone likes it or dislike it. Because here's a key thing, you know. It's some of the simplest things in this world that we are naive to because we experience it. We experience it on such a grand level and such a small level. And with anytime you're used to something, you start to procrastinate or get tired of it. For an example, you go get a video game. Once you didn't beat it 100 times, you might not even feel like beating it that many times. You get tired of it. You want something new. So when we talking about doing everything in your nature, regardless of people like it or not, this explains why people end up wrong in situations. This explains why people never get the doors open for them in the area that they want the doors to open. This is why situations don't go in people's favor. Because all the programs and things that's set up here right now that's blocking your true nature. Your true nature is not to get up and go to work. Your true nature is not to get up and crave. Your true nature is not to get up and watch something that's not informative to your best interest. You know what I'm saying? So, when you being your true nature self, your true natural self, a lot of times it goes against a lot of the programs that's placed here in front of us right now for us to apply to. For an example, it's not a true nature to starve. So if you have no money, which was something that they created, and they created the process for you to go through in order to obtain money, and they created the organization for you to give the money back in order to receive something that they created for you to make you think that you need or want that. But like I put up here on the wall, you never want or need for anything. You always going to get what you deserve. God would never give you what you want or what you need. He always going to give you what you deserve. And we're going to break that down about my father a little later in this video. But I want to get to my initial point. Why you should act in your true nature. Because you want to know why you're wrong, or why you get proved wrong a lot of times in a lot of situations. If you look at it from the outside looking in and a broadened point of view, then you could be able to break down certain processes that the human brainwave frequency go through in order for you to even manifest yourself that situation. Here's an example. Say you have a lot of planet alignments that make you feel like you always have something to prove. So you're a person out here who always has something to prove, right? So what you naturally do may not be well received by the majority of people. Rather, or you may not have even put it to test because you didn't have the courage inside to put it to test to show everybody what you can do to see if it's accepted or not. So before you even get to that stage, you're looking at others' ways of doing things, right? Other people's ways of doing things. Then you point out the most popular person, analyze what they're doing, and come to some type of box in your head to the point that you analyze it and criticize it to the point that you come to wrapping your head around why this person actually where they're at. And you applying the traits that they're doing, and you're applying it to them like that's the reason they are where they are. So you start applying a lot of this person's traits, a lot of this person's actions. And this don't even have to be one person. You could be doing this with many people you admire. Right? Now you inside a program because you don't even know what kind of program these people you following in for them to do what they're doing, and you're inspired by it and you doing it, right? So you think you're doing something similar, but you think you're doing something new. Then you come to the conclusion like, why is this not working for me? This person got this job, such and such, and they was here only this long, and they already a manager. I did the same type of thing. Why is this not working for me? Or in other situations. Yeah, I perform as many shows as this person performed. But yet, this person make $2,500 and I only make 10 racks. And I'm doing the same thing, probably better. What's the issue? And then you can even go as far as to breaking it down how you are better at your job or at your artistry or whatever, or at your relationship or whatever situation you in. You can really break down how you do things better because you wasted so much energy sitting there thinking about how your craft was better, then you forgot that you're diluting your own craft and then merging it into other people's perception. And that's where you fall short. So for an example, like let's go back to the example. You sitting here thinking like, man, I'm doing the same thing, but it's not working. Now, the reason it's working for these people, and they may not even be putting in as much work as you. But it might be something that they're doing naturally or subconsciously that's allowing them to do something in their nature, in their true nature. And by you analyzing them, taking bits and pieces from them and thinking you're doing something new, you're not doing something that's within your nature. So when you're doing someone else's nature and you thinking it's your nature, you're never going to be able to spread across as well as that person, because that person is acting in its nature. For an example, a flower. A flower is not going to grow on concrete because concrete isn't a flower's nature. So if you concrete and this person is grass, and you're trying to understand how this person got flowers growing out of it, and you can't use that person's nature to try to make it seem like people are going to like you or a flower is going to grow out of your concrete. Because your nature is not grass. So it don't matter how good you be able to mimic grass on land, on concrete land. It don't matter how good you're able to mimic it. You're never able going to be that naturally. So that person naturally is always going to be most well received. If y'all get my analogy, y'all know my metaphors be crazy, but you know, work with me, man. I'm going through it right now. And you know, when you're not doing things in your nature, you start to get looked at wrongly. You start to get looked at in a misunderstood type of way. To the point that whatever you're trying to prove, you're never going to come across as proving anything. Because at the end of the day, you wasn't doing what you was supposed to do in your own nature. So you would never experience the maximum degree of someone else's nature because it's not yours. Now, what I mean by natures. Nature's deals, we're going to go back to astrology. You can kind of find your nature by the elements you hold. About the elements you hold, you know, if you're a person with a lot of fire in your chart, then you know that the kind of energy you're carrying is a kind of volatile at times, or it could be extra calm at times, but no in between. You're either super excited or super down, but no in between. Because fire burns through reality. And when it's here, appreciate it. And when it's gone, it's gone. So, you know, if you have a lot of fire in your chart, you know that your nature is going to be a fiery nature. So don't go trying to be a super communicator if you have all fire in your chart. So you want to be a person who do big speeches and stuff and hold big rallies and stuff because you see somebody you look up to do it. And fire signs is creative. You may even come up with a whole new creative way of doing it. But you always going to experience moments of why you can't excel as much as this person. Because that person that's doing it is more in their nature. And even though what they're doing might not be as good as how you're doing it, that doesn't matter. Stuff like that deals with language. Where you at in the world. What part of the world you lived on and was raised on. All that is programs and perception. The realm of reality and the dimensions I'm in doesn't even deal with language. It only deals with sounds, frequency, and vibrations. So, when we want to talk about being in your nature, and you want to be some famous speech person, and you all fire or all water, and fire come up with this creative way of seeing it how it should be done, and water come up with this creative way of it emotionally connecting with people, it's not going to spread to the masses as much as that person who is actually air, who actually have a lot of air in their chart. Because you could be saying more words than them, but the little bit of words that they do use and the way they word it is going to be understood in that realm of reality the most. Just like air signs shouldn't try to do what fire signs do. That's out of their nature. So fire is the seer and the feelings. So yeah, air may have ideas, but once air start trying to communicate their visions and how they intuitively feel, people gonna think you're coming across as sarcastic or manipulative or two-faced or talking too much. Because, and you're gonna genuinely feel that you're not doing that, but the reason people gonna look at you like that because you're not acting in your nature. It's not your nature to go around trying to express your emotional and your visions like fire. It's not your job to go out and try to emotionally connect with everybody and see how everybody feel like water. It's not your job to try to stabilize everybody and try to create some type of foundation for everybody to cling on to. It's your job to create the ideas and to communicate information. So when you're doing other natures, you're not going to be received well. Now, this get tricky because that's just surface level. When we break it down, a person's whole chart develops them. So we would have to actually look at how much of each element you have and the relationship they have with each other in order to actually break down you as a specific person. One moment. But on the large scheme of things, how you could become right or how you could become successful and how you could become successful and how you can apply yourself to the point that you can receive the best outcome in all situations. This act in your nature, regardless if people like it or not. So back to the initial point. When you act in your nature, regardless of people like it or not, the situation always benefits for you. Now, by no means or anything I'm trying to say be selfish. I'm talking higher consciousness right now. Not earthly reality type of thinking about yourself. I'm talking about higher knowledge of thinking about yourself. Like emotionally getting yourself together first before you put to action something or try to take care of somebody else. Do something that you can't necessarily do or put your foot in the mouth before necessarily understanding the terms and conditions you agree with. You know what I'm saying? In this case, when you act in your nature, regardless people like it or not, the people who don't like it gonna respect it because you're gonna put yourself in a situation where you're doing what you're supposed to do, and whether a person like it or not, it's like it creates a situation they can't say anything about it because it's yours, it's you. Now, when you do things that's out of your nature, you open up the realm of reality of people calling you out on it, calling you a liar about certain things. Because you may think you know the truth about something that you are unaware of. So you put yourself in a situation where someone could look at you like, oh, you was lying. And you could genuinely had not been lying. Or someone else probably could have gave you that information. You thought they was telling the truth. But you put yourself in the realm of reality by not acting in your true nature. For an example, say something has happened in the streets, right? Somebody robbed somebody else, right? Now, if you're a person that is not in your nature to rob people, but you're around a lot of people who rob people, right? And then the person who actually gets robbed, right? The person who actually gets robbed, start to look for the people who robbed them, right? Now, the person who actually did the robbing, it must have been in their nature. So they're manifesting situations in their life where they're going to get the most positive outcome out of the situation. Now, that's bad in general to robbing people. Robbing people is bad in general. But this is just for the sake of conversation. For that person who did the robbing, he don't want to go to jail, but he was just doing what was in his nature. He may have actual circumstances in his life that made him come to that conclusion that he's just not doing it for the sake of just doing it. There's other reasons behind it, other powers and energies and beings behind it that's going to help him be put in certain situations where he may not get caught. It may be justified. Now, the person who was with him, that's not his nature, but he just with the guy, he opened up the realm of reality of being caught. He opened up the realm of reality of people looking at him and like, okay, you're lying. Because since it wasn't in his nature, for him to act like it's in his nature, people around it is going to sense something weird. They're not going to know what it is, but just the human antennas pick it up. And when time and experience start to trickle down and create a lineage type of thing, people are able to detect each moment and put together pieces to the point that you get figured out that you wasn't living in your nature. And you not living in your nature can play out in ways of people figuring out you lying, you getting caught for doing something you wasn't supposed to be doing. Those are the fastest people that get caught. This is why serial killers take a long time to get caught, faster than someone who just killed somebody over an emotional situation. You know what I'm saying? Serial killers didn't attach no emotional weight to it because in some type of way they was fucked up in the head to the point that it was kind of part of their nature. So it always going to benefit. Now, I know these is negative situations. I mean, I'm going through a negative time right now. I wish I could have came up with a positive analogy so everybody could laugh and shit like I usually do. But my mind is not there right now, and I'm still trying to do a video. So the whole realm of reality of concepts I'm trying to push out gonna have an attached file of negativity to it in some form or degree. You know what I'm saying? So I apologize. You know, but I even want to get to the point of me saying my Father, God, saying He would never give you what you want or need, but He always going to give you what you deserve. And I'm going to break that down a little bit because that goes down into prayer and being the predator and everything. Be careful of the words you're using. Be careful what you're praying for. And I advise you not to even use the word pray, because if you're a person who's in some type of program or in some type of religious type of program or some type of theology or philosophy or something like that, you could be praying to something that you think you were supposed to be praying to, and whatever you praying to could be an onslaught predator that don't need no type of praise and don't need no permission into praying on you. And I'm gonna just give y'all a few secrets. I usually don't get to these, but this is like a secret right here. Our real God don't give a fuck about language, about any material that you put importance to here on this earth. Things you paying attention to and receiving from it and giving your energy to. God don't. It's not even God. My Father is. It's not even my Father. But this is the best way I can explain the example of how y'all see the higher being. He don't. She don't. It don't give a fuck about what you put importance to on this earth. Not even if it's your fucking family. You need to understand that. There's a lot of people you may share blood with that's not your motherfucking family. That's another video. But the whole point of what I'm saying is, it don't give a fuck about that shit. It only give a fuck about energy, frequency, and vibrations. Stomach hurt. So for an example, say you need $20 or want $20, and whatever programs you've been raised up under make you feel like prayer is what you're supposed to do. Your whole outlook on prayer is going to consume of this: praying and hoping you get $20. Now, when this message goes to my Father, He don't receive the sigils and meanings and the languages and the letters and the importance that you putting behind the actual thing you want. He's not receiving that information because he's not in this realm of reality to see. He's not in this realm of reality to see money like that. He's not in his realm of reality to see paper like that. He's not. The realm of reality my father's in, and fuck that shit. But the realm of reality he in, she in, it only received the information from your frequency, vibrations, and your energy. That's it. It don't receive the manifestation, input and output look of whatever you're manifesting of how you feel. It's not catching that part of it, the physicality, the how it looked, the perception of it, the energy we put to. He's not catching that part of it. When your parent get back to him, it only catches the energy, frequency, vibrations of your being for whatever object. It's not even paying attention to the object. It's just paying attention to your spirit of the energy that you're putting out. And if you keep putting that energy into things and asking for him to give you the thing instead of the energy, then that's when you fall short. You're putting something before him. So when you, for